Broadcasting to you from somewhere deep in the heart of Texas. Once again, it's me, Honey Ann. Hello, Roots Magoo. How are you? I'm going to pick up where I had left off yesterday on Ezra on Mount Horeb. Okay. I can get my mouse to function. I have to use my keyboard. Okay. I, Ezra, received a charge of Yahuwah upon the Mount Horeb, that I should go unto Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught, and despised the commandment of Yahuwah. And therefore I say unto you, O you heathen, that hear and understand, look for your shepherd. He shall give you everlasting rest. He is near at hand, that shall come in the end of the world. Be ready to the reward of the kingdom, for the everlasting light shall shine upon you forevermore. May the shadow of this world receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly. Oh, receive the gift that is given you, and be glad, giving thanks unto him that has called you to the heavenly kingdom. Arise up and stand. Behold the number of those that be sealed in the feast of Yahuwah, which are departed from the shadow of the world. Over migration not fail, and shut up those of yours that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of Yahuwah. The number of your children whom you long for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of Yahuwah, that your people, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed. Ezra sees the son of Yahuwah in the end times. I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion, and you know when it's Mount Zion with an S, it's the heavenly abode, and when it's Zion with a Z, it's the earthly abode. Okay. So I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised Yahuwah with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahuwah. Now are they crowned and received palms. Then I said unto the angel, What young person is it that so stiffly for the name of crowns them and gives them Yahuwah? No, wait. I'm going one into the other. Wait a minute. What young person is it that crowns them and gives them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Elohim, whom they have confessed in the world. Then I began greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of Yahuwah. Then the angel said unto me, Go your way and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of Yahuwah, thy Elohim, you have seen. Okay. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Revelations 2:7, Messiah. In the midst of the street of it, I had to stop that music. And on either side of the river was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were the healing of the nations. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Revelations 22:14. For unto you is paradise opened, the tree of life is planted. 2 Ezra 8:52. Messiah quotes 2 Ezra again. Okay. Here, let me go back over to Streamer for a second. There's something over here I wanted to do real quick. There's something here that we have. Okay, I've got that one. I don't know if I can find it for this second. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hold you up. Let's see here. That's not it. Okay. It was over here on settings. But I don't see it now. Maybe they had given us that music background for just a minute. Then you have to pay monthly. I don't know. Because I don't see it right this second. Yeah, I don't see it. Okay, so I'll just forget about that. Okay, chapter 3. 1. Ezra is troubled and acknowledges the sins of the people, yet complains that the heathen were lords over them, being more wicked than they. Ezra's prayer of complaint. In the 13th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon and lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came upon my heart. For I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High. I said, O Yahuwah, who bears the rule, you spoke at the beginning, when you did plant the earth and that yourself alone, and commanded the people, and gave a body unto Adam without soul, which was workmanship of your hands, and did breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before you. And you led him into paradise, which your right hand had planted before ever the earth came forward. And unto him you gave commandment to love your way, which he transgressed, and immediately you appointed death in him, and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before you, and despised your commandments. And again, in process of time, you brought the flood upon those that dwelt in the world, and destroyed them. And it came to pass in every of them, that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them you left, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men. And it happened that when they dwelt upon the earth, began to multiply, and had begotten them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. Now when they lived so wickedly before you, you did choose a man from among them, whose name was Abraham. Him you loved, and unto him only you showed your will, and made an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that you would never forsake his seed. And unto him you gave and unto him you gave Isaac, and unto Isaac also you gave Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou did choose him to yourself, and put by Esau, and so Jacob became a great multitude. And it came to pass that when you led his seed out of Egypt, and brought them up to Mount Sinai, and bowing the heavens you did set fast the earth, or maybe bowing, and bowing the heavens you did set fast the earth, moved the whole world, and made the depths to tremble, and troubled the men of that age. And your glory went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that you might give the law, that you, where am I at? The law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Israel. And yet you took away from them a wicked heart, that your law might bring forth fruit in them. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed, and was overcome. And so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away and the evil abode still. So the times passed away and the years were brought to an end. Then did you raise up a servant called David, whom you commanded to build a city into your name, and to offer incense and oblations unto you therein. When this was done, many years then they that inhabited the city forsook you, and in all things did even as Adam and all his generations had done, for they also had a wicked heart. And so you gave the city over in the hands of your enemies. Babylon compared with Zion. See, we have Zion with a Z here. And their deeds than any better than inhibit Babylon, that they should therefore have a dominion over Sion. For when I have thither and for when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw evildoers in this 13th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how you suffer, and them sinning, and have spared wicked doers, and have destroyed your people, and have preserved your enemies, and have not signified it. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Sion? Or is there any other people that knows you besides Israel? Or what generation has so believed your covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appears not, and their labor has no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth and think not upon your commandments. Weigh therefore our wickedness now in the balance of theirs also that dwell in the world. And so shall your name nowhere be found but in Israel. Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people has so kept your commandments? You shall find that Israel by name has kept your precepts, but not the heathen. Oh, look, there's the mask, the plague mask. And yet the reward appears not, and their labor has no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth and think not upon your commandments. Wow. The angel declares the ignorance of Ezra and Yahuwah's judgments, and advises him not to meddle with things above his reach. Nevertheless, Ezra asks diverse questions and receives answers to them. Limitations of the human mind. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer, and said, your heart has gone too far in this world, and you think to comprehend the way of the Most High. Then I said, yes, my Lord. And he answered me and said, I am sent to show you show you 3 ways, and to set forth 3 similitudes before you. Wherefore, if you can declare me one, I will show you also the way that you desire to see. And I shall show you from whence the wicked heart comes. And I said, tell on my Lord. Then he said unto me, go your way, weigh me the weight of the fire, or measure me the blast of the wind, or call me again the day that is past. Then I answered and said, what man is able to do that you should ask such things of me? And he said unto me, if I should ask you how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, or how many springs are in the beginning of the deep, or how many springs are above the firmament, which are outgoings of paradise. Wow. Peradventure you would say unto me, I never went down into the deep, nor as yet into hell, neither did I ever climb up into heaven. Nevertheless, now I have asked you, but only of the fire and wind, and of the day where through you have passed, and of things from which you cannot be separated. And yet can you give me answer of them? He said moreover unto me, you own things, your own things, and such as are grown up with you, can you not know? How should your vessel then be able to comprehend the way of the highest, and the world being not outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that is evident in my sight? Then I said unto him, it were better that we were not at all, than that we should live still in wickedness, and to suffer, and not to know wherefore. Parable of the forest and the sea. He answered me and said, I went into a forest, into a plain, and the trees took counsel, and said, come, let us go and make war against the sea, that it may depart away before us, and that we may make us more woods. The floods of the sea also like manner took counsel, and said, come, let us go up and subdue the woods of the plain, that there also we may make us another country. That thought of the wood was in vain, but the fire came and consumed it. Thought of the floods of the sea came likewise to naught, for the sand stood up and stopped them. If you were judged now between these two, whom would you begin to justify, or whom would you condemn? I answered and said, verily, it is a foolish thought that they both have devised. For the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea also has his place to bear his floods. Then he answered me and said, you have given a right judgment, but why judge you not yourself also? For like as the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea to his floods, even so they that dwell upon the earth may understand nothing but that which is upon the earth. And he that dwells above the heavens may only understand the things that are above the height of the heavens. The new age will make all things clear. Then I answered and said, I beseech you, O Yahuwah, let me have understanding. For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen, and for what cause the people whom you have loved is given over unto ungodly nations, and why the law of our forefather is brought to naught, and the written covenants come to none effect. And we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy. What will he then do unto his name whereby we are called? Of these things have I asked. Then he answered me and said, the more you search, the more you shall marvel, for the world has fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. But as concerning the things whereof you ask me, I will tell you, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good? The grain of evil seed has been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness has it brought upon this time? And how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? Ponder now by yourself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed has brought forth. And when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a flood shall they fill? When will the new age come? Then I answered and said, how and when shall these things come to pass? Wherefore are our years few and evil? And he answered me, saying, do you not hasten above the most highest? For your haste is in vain to be above him, for you have much exceeded. Did not the souls also of the righteous ask question of these things in their chambers, saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion? When comes the fruit of the floor of our reward? And to these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seeds is filled in you, for he has weighed the world in the balance. By measure has he measured the times, and by number has he numbered the times, and he does not move nor stir them until the said measure be filled. Then I answered and said, O Yahuwah, that bears rule, even we all are full of impiety, and for our sakes, peradventure, it is that the floors of the righteous are not filled, because of the sins of them that dwell upon there. So he answered me and said, go your way to a woman with child, and ask of her, when she has fulfilled her 9 months in her womb, may keep the birth any longer within her. Then I said, no, Lord, that she cannot. And he said unto me, is the grave, the chambers of souls are like the womb of in the grave the chambers of souls are like the womb of a woman. For like as a woman that travails makes haste to escape the necessity of the travail, even so do these places haste to deliver those things that are committed unto them. In the beginning, look what you desire to see, it shall be shown you. How much time remains? Then I answered and said, if I have found favor in your sight, and if it be possible, and if I be meet therefore, show me then whether there be more to come than is past, or more past that is to come. What is past I know, but what is for to come I know not. He said unto me, stand up upon the right side, and I shall expound the similitude unto you. So I stood and saw, and behold, a hot burning oven passed by before me, and it happened that when the flame was gone by, I looked, and behold, the smoke remained still. After this, there passed by before me a watery cloud, and sent down much rain with a storm. And when the stormy rain was past, the drops remained still. And then he said unto me, consider with yourself, as the rain is more than the drops, and as the fire is greater than the smoke, but the drops, excuse me, and the smoke remain behind. So the quantity which is past did more exceed. Excuse me, or measure, it says on the side. Then I prayed and said, may I live, you think, until that time? Or what shall happen in those days? He answered me and said, as for the tokens whereof you ask me, I may tell you of them in part. But as touching your life, I am not sent to show you, for I do not know it. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. Romans 8:22. The signs of the times to come. 23. He asks, why Elohim choosing but one people did cast them off. He is taught that Yahuwah's judgments are unsearchable, and that Yahuwah does not all at once. Just a second, I'll get a drink. Okay. Right. Signs of the end. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. But iniquity shall be increased above that which now you see, or that you have heard long ago. And the land that you see now to have root shall you see wasted suddenly. But if the Most High grant you to live, you shall see after the third trumpet that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day, and blood shall drop out of the wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. And even he shall rule whom they look not for that dwell upon the earth, and the fowls shall take their flight away together, and the sodomite sea shall cast out in the night, which may have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters, and salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw himself into his secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency, then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon the earth. One land also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that makes a man righteous gone through you? And it shall say, no. In the same time shall men hope, but nothing obtain. They shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. To show you such tokens I have leave. And if you will pray again and weep as now, and fast 7 days, you shall hear yet greater things. Conclusion of the vision. Then I awakened, and an extreme fearfulness went through all my body, and my mind was troubled, so that it fainted. Hopefully the dogs are done barking. I'm sorry. Extreme fearfulness went through all my body, and my mind was troubled, so that it fainted. So the angel that came to talk with me held me and comforted me and set me up upon my feet. And in the second night it came to pass that Salatiel, the captain of the people, came unto me, saying, where have you been, and why is your countenance so heavy? Know ye not that Israel is committed unto you in the land of their captivity? Up then and eat bread, and forsake us not, as the shepherd that leaves his flock in the hands of cruel wolves. Then I said unto him, go your ways from me, and come not near me. And he heard what I said, and went from me. And so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriel the angel commanded me. Ezra's second prayer of complaint. And after 7 days, so it was that the thoughts of my heart were very grievous unto me again, and my soul recovered the spirit of understanding. I began to talk with the Most High again and said, O Yahuwah, that bears rule of every wood of the earth and all the trees thereof, you have chosen your one only vine. And of all lands of the whole world you have chosen one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily, and of all the depths of the sea you have filled one river, and of all builded cities you have hallowed Zion unto yourself. And of all the fowls that are created you have named one dove, and the cattle that are made you have provided one sheep. And among all the multitudes of peoples you have gotten one people, and unto this people whom you loved you gave a law that is approved of all. And when I said Zion, maybe I got that backwards. I was in my memory, I remember being taught that Zion was the heavenly abode and Zion was the earthly abode. But I might have said that backwards. You'll have to do your own research to see which one's correct. But I know there's a difference with the S and the Z. One's heavenly and one's earthly. Yeah. And now, Yahuwah, why have you gotten this one people over into many? And upon the one root you have prepared others. And why have you scattered your only one people among many? And then they which did gainsay your promises and believe not your covenants have trodden them down. And if you did so much hate your people, yet should you punish them in your own hands? Punish them with your own hands? Response to Ezra's complaints. Now, when I had spoken these words, the angel that came to me the night before was sent unto me, and said unto me, Hear me, and I will instruct you. Hearken to the thing that I say, and I shall tell you more. And I said, Speak on, my Lord. Then he said unto me, You are sore troubled in mind for Israel's sake. You love that people better than he that made them. And I said, No, Lord, but of much grief I have spoken. For my heart pains me every hour when I labor to comprehend the way of the Most High, and to seek out part of his judgment. And he said unto me, You cannot. And I said, Wherefore, Lord? Whereunto was I born then? Or why was not my mother's womb then my grave? That I might not have seen the travel of Jacob and the wearisome toil of the stock of Israel. And he said unto me, Number me the things that are not yet come. Gather me together the drops that are scattered abroad. Make me the flowers green again that are withered. Open me the places that are closed, and bring me forth the winds that in them are shut up. Show me the image of a voice, and then I will declare to you the thing that you labor to know. And I said, O Yahuwah, that hearest rule, who may know these things? But he that has not his dwelling with men. As for me, I am unwise. How may I then speak for these things whereof you ask me? Then he said unto me, Like as you can do none of these things that I have spoken of, even so can you not find out my judgment, or in the end the love that I have promised unto my people. Why successive generations have been created. And then I said, Behold, O Yahuwah, yet are you nigh unto them that reserved till the end, that be reserved till the end? And what shall they do that have been before me? Or we that be now, or they that shall come after us? And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a ring. Like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first. So I answered and said, Could you not make those that have been made and be now and that are for to come at once? Then you might show your judgment the sooner. Then he answered me and said, The creature may not have above the maker, neither may the world hold them at once that shall be created therein. And I said, as you have said unto your servant, that you, which give life to all, has given life at once to the creature that you have created, and the creature bear it. Even so it might now also bear them that now be present at once. And he said unto me, ask the womb of a woman, and say unto her, if you bring forth children, why do you not do it together, but one after another? Pray her, therefore, to bring forth 10 children at once. And I said, she cannot, but must do it by distance of time. Then he said unto me, even so have I given the womb of the earth to those that be sown in it in their times. For like as a young child may not bring forth the things that belong to the aged, even so I have disposed the world which I have created. When and how will the end come? And I asked and said, seeing you have now given me the way, I will proceed to speak before you, for our mother, whom you have told me that she is young, draws now nigh unto age. He answered me and said, ask a woman that bears children, and she shall tell you. Say unto her, wherefore are not they whom you have now brought forth like those that were before, but less of stature? And she shall answer you, they that be born in strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age, when the womb fills, are otherwise. Consider you therefore also how that you are less of stature than those that were before you. Wow. Wow. And so are they that come after you less than you, as the creatures which now begin to be old have passed over the strength of youth. Then I said, Yahuwah, I beseech thee, if I have found favor in thy sight, show your servant by whom you visit your creature. Elohim's purpose is eternal. The next world shall follow this immediately. What shall fall out at the last? He has promised more knowledge, and reckon of the words of the creation, and complain that they have not in part, they have no part in the world for whom it was made. Look at the side, or circle of the earth. A circle is a two-dimensional. The ancient perspective was not that of a sphere. And he said unto me, in the beginning when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were made, or ever the chimneys of Zion were hot, and before the present years were sought out, and before the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone. 1 second. I've got to take a picture of that. See if my phone's charged. Excuse me. If I can get my stupid phone to cooperate. Okay. Get over here on markup. Let me crop it real quick. Hopefully it'll be legible. There we go. Let's save it now. Bear with me. My internet keeps cutting out for some weird reason. Oh, excuse me, I got the chills. Okay. Then I answered and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, of him Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Wow. Sorry about all the noise. I gotta make it up here too. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. It is the beginning of it that follows. It that follows. Okay. Second Ezra 9. Let's see. Just 1 second. Let me go up. Chapter 6. I don't know why I feel the need that I have to make a note of that. It's important. The hand of man is between the heel and the hand. Other question Ezra, ask you not. More signs of the end. 11. I answered then and said, O Yahuwah that bears rule, if I have found favor in thy sight, I beseech you, show your servant the end of your tokens, whereof you showed me part of the last night. So he answered and said unto me, stand up upon your feet and hear a mighty sounding voice. And it shall be as it were a great motion, but the place where you stand shall not be moved. Or earthquake. And therefore, when it speaks, be not afraid, for the word is of the end, and the foundation of the earth is understood. And why? Because the speech of these things trembles and is moved, for it knows that the end of these things must be changed. And it happened when I heard it, I stood up upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spoke, and the sound of it was like the sound of many waters. And it said, Behold, the days come that I will begin to draw near and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them, what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Sion shall be fulfilled, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see altogether. And the children of a year old shall speak, and the children of a year old shall speak. Wow. Wow. With their voices, the woman with child shall bring forth untimely children. Sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hears, they shall be suddenly afraid. Cross-referencing 1 Corinthians 15:52. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Hydrothermal vents, fountains of the great deep. Whosoever remains from all these that I have told you shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth. And the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning. Evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And the truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared. This text is inspired because I feel it inside of me. How do you feel about this, Roots? Do you feel like, do you feel anything moving inside of you whenever I'm reading these verses? I mean, these texts. I absolutely do. I feel like it has great meaning, and it was left out for a reason. You know, they didn't want us to know these things. But that's just one woman's opinion. You know what I mean? So we have the conclusion of the second vision. And when he talked with me, behold, I looked by little and little upon him before whom I stood. And these words said he unto me, I am come to show you the time of the night to come. If you will pray yet more and fast 7 days again, I shall tell you greater things by day than I have heard. For your voice is heard before the Most High, for the Mighty has seen your righteous dealing. He has seen also your chastity, which you have had ever since your youth. And therefore he has sent me to show you all these things, and to say unto you, be of good comfort, and fear not, and hasten not with the times that are past, to think vain things, that you may not hasten from the latter times. The third vision. And it came to pass after this that I wept again and fasted 7 days in like manner, that I might fulfill the 3 weeks which he told me. And in the 8th night was my heart vexed within me again, and I began to speak before the Most High, for my spirit was greatly set on fire, and my soul was in distress. Yahuwah's work in creation. And I said, O Yahuwah, you spoke from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and said thus, let heaven and earth be made, and your word was a perfect work. And then was the spirit, and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. Then you commanded a fair light to come forth of your treasures, that your work might appear. Upon the second day you made the spirit of the firmament, and commanded it to part asunder, and to make a division between the waters, that on the other remained beneath. Upon the third day you did command that the waters should be gathered in the seventh part of the earth. 6 parts have you dried up, and kept them, to the intent that of these, being some planted of Elohim and tilled, might serve you. For as soon as your word went forth, the work was made. For immediately there was great and innumerable fruit, and many and diverse pleasures for the taste, and flowers of unchangeable color, and odors of wonderful smell. And this was done the third day. Upon the fourth day you commanded that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order, and gave them a charge to do service unto man that was to be made. Upon the fifth day you said unto the seventh part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls and fishes, and so it came to pass. For the dumb water was without life, brought forth living things at the commandment of Elohim, that all people might praise your wondrous works. Then did you ordain 2 creatures, the one you called Enoch, and the other Leviathan, and did separate the one from the other. For the seventh part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. Unto Enoch you gave 1 part which was dried up the third day, that he should dwell in the same part, wherein are 1,000 hills. But unto Leviathan you gave the seventh part, namely the moist, and has kept him to be devoured, of whom you will and when. Unto the 6th day you gave commandment unto the air, that before you it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. I'm still thinking about this Leviathan and Enoch thing that we haven't ever heard of before. Why do Yahuwah's people suffer? And after these, Adam also, whom you made Lord of all your creatures, and of him come we all, and the people also whom you have chosen. All this have I spoken before you, O Yahuwah, because you made the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, you have said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and have likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falls from a vessel. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to go right here. Then did you ordain 2 living creatures, the one you called Enoch and the other Leviathan. See? 2 living creatures, Enoch and Leviathan. Maybe that's a different Enoch. I don't know. And did separate the one. Okay, I'm going to go back up here again. From the other. For the 7th part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both. Unto Enoch you gave 1 part which was dried up, the 3rd day, that he should dwell in the same part, wherein are 1,000 hills. But unto Leviathan you gave the 7th part, namely the moist, and has kept him to be devoured, of whom you will and went. Upon the 6th day you gave commandment unto the earth that before you it should bring forth beast, cattle, and creeping things. So why do Yahuwah's people suffer? And after these, Adam also, whom you have made Lord of all your creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom you have chosen. All this I have spoken before you, O Yahuwah, because you made the world for our sakes. As for the other people which are also come of Adam, you have said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and have likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falls from a vessel. And now, O Yahuwah, behold, these heathen, which you have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and devour us. But we, your people, whom you have called your firstborn, your only begotten, and your fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we possess an inheritance with the world? Why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? 15% of the earth was water before the flood. Upon the 3rd day thou command that the waters should be gathered in the 7th part of the earth. The 6 parts thou dried up and kept them. Upon the 5th day thou said unto the 7th part where the waters were gathered, and did separate the one from the other, and the 7th part, namely, where the waters was gathered together. So was Enoch the name of the land? It says creatures, though. It says creatures. But unto Leviathan thou gave the 7th part, namely the moist. The world ocean was formed by the flood. The rivers from Eden can only be on the bottom of the ocean floor. No modern river could fit. Okay, modern rivers do not fit these rivers from Eden, as there was no rain before the flood in Genesis 2:5. The Tigris, modern Euphrates, Nile, Amazon, etc., all originate in precipitation, thus disqualified. Genesis 2:10, and a river went out of Eden to water the garden. From thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. The 60,000 kilometer continuous mid-ocean ridge has exactly 4 intersections with oceanic trench system contiguous before the flood. So Pison, the Philippines, led the world in gold, pearl, and onyx stone in all of history. North America, the Gihon North borders. Let me go over and look at this and check it out. I may have to make it a little smaller to look at it. Okay. No, that's all we're seeing. Genesis 2:14, in the 4th river is Euphrates. It is the most significant, and Hebrew reads east to west because all begin in the east. South America, that's the Levite Bible. Rivers from Eden. Alright, so let me make it bigger again. If you, oops, if you drained all the water away, it would look exactly like a river system with bends and meanders, except there are no trees along the banks. Water should be gathered in the seventh part of the earth, 6 parts thou, dried up. Only 15% of pre-flood world has water. Pison River from Eden and the Gihon. I gotta make it bigger. River from Eden End. Japan Trench. Sorry. Okay, I muted it while there was noise going on, disruption like always. Pardon that. Eden is the North Pole, the middle and center of the navel of the earth. The river begins there and flows out. Jubilees places Gihon on the bottom of the ocean floor in surrounding Africa. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is which goeth toward the east of Assyria. The Tigris is the river in the Bible 27 times and never Hiddekel. Daniel was in Iran during the period he had a vision on the Hiddekel, and that was not the Tigris but the Iranian Persian Gulf. Pre-flood world, rivers from Eden theory confirmed by Jubilees, land of gold, Sheba, Tarshish, Elda, Ophir, Havilah, Pison, defines east border of Shem and something else. I can't see that. Garden of Eden, watered at the end rivers of Eden. Okay, Genesis 2:13, and the name of the second river is Gihon, and the name is that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. All right, so there you go. West of Afra, waters of Gihon to the banks of African continent shelf. Australia is down there. Okay. Eden. Flood breaketh out from the inhabitant, even the waters begotten of the foot. They are dried up, brought low. They are gone away, shake from men, usually understood of underground streams. Its roots shall go down to the abyss, and all the rivers of Eden shall water its branches. Okay. Mountains of fire, Penang, Hapi, and Javanese. 147 volcanoes forming a natural geographic border between Shem and Ham in the far east. Garden of Eden, Shem's southeast border. Genesis 3:24, east of the garden. So he drove out the man and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. From Africa west to right of the garden, Pison River from Eden, Malibu Trench, Ham, Shem, whole land of East in India extends east till it reaches the Garden of Eden. Philippines, Havila, Garden of Eden, Fears, west to the Sea of Tel, Indian Ocean, then west to Sea of Mayuk, Atlantic Ocean, and north of the Gadir, Goddess, testing the resources of Havila. All of the history In all of history, the Philippines leads in gold mining since before 1000 BC and I said before 1000 BC. Oh Lord. Since before 1000 BC and still remains number 2 on Earth in untapped gold reserves. There is no other land which competes. It is the ancient land of gold by historical record. Pearl, bdellium is never a biblical spice, and all such spices are recorded in Scripture. It is pearl. The Philippines has the largest pearls in all of history, with no second. Puerto Princesa pearl, 75-pound pearl. Wow, that's a big pearl. Ancient onyx, especially in Egypt, was known as alabaster, used in ornamental construction. The Philippines has the strongest onyx and marble on earth in Romblon. Marine life is the true measure for the land of creation, as it was not wiped out by the flood. The epicenter of marine biodiversity on all of Earth is the Philippines in the Sulu Sea. Tabatach Reef in the Sulu Sea. In resources, history, geography, science, language, and the Bible, this is Ophir, the Philippines. To see the search for King Solomon's treasure, the lost isles of gold in the Garden of Eden for evidences. So Genesis 2:11 and 12, the name of the first is Pison, that is in which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. The Garden of Eden, land of creation, Ophir, Philippines. Adam and his wife went forth from the Garden of Eden, and they dwelt in the land of Elda, in the land of their creation, Jubilees. Okay. Interesting. Garden system in the end times. The world ocean will disappear in the end and to restore the rivers from Eden. Wow. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. Wow. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. They shall have the tree of life for an ornament of sweet savor. They shall neither be weary. For her thoughts are more than the sea, and her counsel profounder than the great deep. I also came out as a brook from a river, and as come into a garden. I said, I will water my best garden, and will water abundantly my garden bed. Lo, my brook became a river, and my river became a sea. Description of pre-flood world. The world ocean was formed by the flood. Messiah revealed, chapter 7. The way is narrow. When it was made narrow, all shall die and rise again. Messiah shall sit in judgment. Elohim is not in paradise in vain, and is merciful. Response to Ezra's questions. And when I had made an end of speaking, there was unto me the angel which had been sent unto me the nights before. Elohim is a classification of heavenly being, not exclusive to Yahuwah, and is plural. Okay. And he said unto me, Up, Ezra, and hear the words that I am come to tell you. And I said, Speak on, my Elohim. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance, were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it, and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be one man go through there at once. If this city now were given unto a man, mosquito, yeah, go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, It is so, Lord. Then he said unto me, Even so also is Israel's portion. Because of their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, and then was decreed that now is done, then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but a few, and evil, full of perils, and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. For the entrances of the elder wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. Now therefore, why disquiet yourself, seeing you are but a corruptible man? And why are you moved, whereas you are but mortal? Enter ye in the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat, because strait is the gate, narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. It was not widened, it remains narrow, as is the path of salvation defined in Matthew 7 and John 15 as a relationship with Yahusha. Even Christians will be among those told to depart from him without true relationship. Origin 2 Ezra 7:12-14. Messiah quotes 2 Ezra again. Why have you not considered in your mind this thing that is to come rather than that which is present? Fate of the ungodly. Then I answered and said, O Yahuwah, that bears rule. Wouldn't you think bears would be spelled B-A-R-E-S instead of bears like an animal? You see that? I guess not. I don't know. Bear, B-A-R-E, would be nakedness. Okay, never mind. You have ordained in your law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. And he said unto me, There is no judge above Elohim, and none that has understanding above the highest. That perish in this life because they despise the law of Elohim that is set before them. For Elohim has given strict commandment to such as come, what they should do to live, even as they came, and what they should observe to avoid punishment. Nevertheless, they were not obedient to him, but spoke against him and imagined vain things, and deceived themselves by their wicked deeds. And said of the Most High that he is not, and knew not his ways. But his law have they despised, and denied his covenants and his statutes, and have they not been faithful, and have not performed his works. And therefore Ezra, for the empty are empty things, and for the full are the full things, the temporary messianic kingdom. Behold, the time shall come that these tokens which I have told you shall come to pass, and the bride shall appear, and she coming forth shall be seen, that now is withdrawn from the earth. Sounds like a rapture to me, Roots Magoo. And whosoever is delivered from the forementioned evils shall see my wonders. For my son Yahusha shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. After these years shall my son Messiah die, and all men that have life. And the world shall be turned into old silent 7 days, like as in the former judgments, so that no man shall remain. And after 7 days the world that yet awake not shall. Ezra predicted by name that Yahusha, the son of Yahuwah, will be born in around 0 BC, as well as his death and resurrection, so that men may have life. This is exact. For my son Yahusha shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years. After these shall my son Messiah die, and all men that have life be raised up, and that shall die that is corrupt. The earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and shall the dust of those that dwell in silence, and the secret places shall deliver those souls that were committed unto them. So, I have a question right here in 32. And the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her, and so shall the dust those that dwell in silence, and the secret places shall deliver those souls that were committed unto them. So when it says dust right here, would you think that would be somebody who's cremated? Because I've been really kind of bothered because I wanted to get cremated. And then it kind of bothered me, I thought, well, if I'm cremated and the ashes are scattered or something, would I be able to be restored? And then I think, well, God's the God of all. Why would he not be able to restore all those ashes? Yeah, so I've been kind of tormented, going back and forth about cremation, but that one verse right there kind of restores. Sorry about the noise. I'm going to write this verse down. Okay. A second. I don't miss this. So this is 7. The second answer is 7:32, right? Yeah. Okay. And you shall restore those that are asleep in her. And so shall the dust, and so shall the dust those that dwell in silence. Dwell in silence. In the sacred places shall they live with the souls. Sacred places shall they live with the souls. Souls that come in. Can we go over and see if you said anything? Okay. Oh yeah, I know you believe in the resurrection. I was talking about the rapture. The flesh decaying turns to dust, right? Yeah, it does. I think it does. So whether it be cremation or natural decay, wouldn't it be the same to you, Roots? It would to me. Just my opinion on that. Okay. And the Most High shall appear upon the seat of judgment, and misery shall pass away, and the long suffering shall have an end. Amen. But judgment only shall remain, truth shall stand, and faith shall back strong, and the work shall follow, and the reward shall be shown. And the good deeds shall be of force, and wicked deeds shall bear no rule. And Hezekiah for the people in the time of Sennacherib, and many for many. Even so, now seeing corruption is grown up, and wickedness increased, and the righteous have prayed for the ungodly, wherefore shall it not be now? Be so now also. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory does abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak? But the day of doom shall be the end of this time, and the beginning of the immorality for to come, wherein corruption is past, intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. Then shall no man be able to save him that is destroyed, nor to oppress him that has gotten the victory. Amen. Lamentation over the fate of most people. Mm-hmm. I answered then and said, this is my first and last saying, that it had been better not to have given the earth unto Adam, or else when it was given him, to have restrained him from sinning. And after 7 days the world that yet await not shall be raised up, and that shall die that is corrupt. Mm-hmm. First Enoch 10:12. Bind them for 70 generations under the hills of the earth until the day of their judgment, and of their consummation until the judgment, which is for all eternity, is accomplished. Together they will be bound until the end of all generations. 7,000 years, 70 generations. 7 days equals 7,000 years. 1 day, 1,000 years. For what profit is it for men now, in the present time, to live in heaviness, and after death to look for punishment? O Adam, what have you done? For though it was you that sinned, you are not fallen alone, but we all that come of you. For what profit is it unto us if there be promised us an immortal time, whereas we have done the works that bring death? And that there is promised us an everlasting hope, whereas ourselves being most wicked are made in vain. and that there are laid up for us dwellings of health and safety, whereas we have lived wickedly, and that the glory of the Most High is kept to defend them which have led a weary life, whereas we have walked in the most wicked ways of all, and that there should be shown a paradise whose fruit endures forever, wherein is security and medicine, since we shall not enter into it. For we have walked in unpleasant places, and the faces of them which have used abstinence shall shine above the stars, whereas our faces shall be let me get back up to the top. Shall be blacker than darkness. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered that not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Then he answered me and said, this is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as you have said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. For this is the life whereof Moses spoke unto the people while he lived, saying, choose you life, that you may live. Nevertheless, they believed him not, nor yet the prophets after him, nor me, which have spoken unto them, that there should not be such heaviness in their destruction, as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation. Ezra appeals to Yahuwah's mercy. I answered then and said, I know Yahuwah, that the Most High is called merciful, and that he hath mercy upon them which are not yet come into the world, and upon those also that turn to his law, and that he is patient and long suffer those that have sinned as his creatures, and that he is bountiful, for he is ready to give where needed. And that is of great mercy, for he multiplies more and more mercies to them that are present and that are past, and also to them which are to come. For if he shall not multiply his mercies, the world would not continue with them that inherit therein. And he pardons, for if he did not so of his goodness, that they which have committed iniquities might be eased of them, the 10,000 part of men should not remain living. And being judged, if he would not forgive them that are cured with his word, and put out the multitude of contentions, there should be very few left peradventure in an insummable multitude. Okay, I'm going to read this and I'm going to stop for today. Then he answered me and said, this is the condition of the battle which man that is born upon the earth shall fight, that if he be overcome, he shall suffer as you have said. But if he get the victory, for this is the life whereof Moses spoke unto the people while he lived, saying, choose your life that you may live. Wow, that was very interesting. We'll pick up with chapter 8 tomorrow. I don't know what time, sometime tomorrow. Okay, let's see here. The flesh decaying turns to dust, right? Okay, all right. Well, I don't know if you've ever read Second Esdras before, Roots, but this is my first time, and I'm finding it very, very interesting, very informative. I mean, I'm picking up some stuff from it. It's teaching me as we go along. I feel like it's an inspired canon. It really should have been left in our Bibles. I don't know about you, but everything adds up to where it shouldn't have been left out. Okay, I'm gonna get on out of here, and we'll pick back up tomorrow. It's been an emotional to ride me reading this. I've been sad, and I've been happy, and I've been hopeful. Yeah. All right, hun. I'll catch you tomorrow. Anybody who's listening in with Second Esdras, it's quite interesting. I can't believe a whole hour and a half has passed. You know, we've been reading an hour and a half. So, you have read the Second Esdras with 4 roots? Yeah. Oh gosh. Sorry for the noise.